Now, whenever you are trying to switch, so just decide whether you want to make a good switch or you just want to switch. That makes a lot of difference. Most of the times, what happens, we are not happy with the kind of culture or the environment in the current company, and we just want to make a switch. That is a good move. But the problem is, again, you will fall into the one more trap where you will spend again 6 months and you think about moving out of that company.
Welcome everyone. Hope you're keeping well and staying safe. This is Hafsanjum and I am working as a community executive at Recro, wherein we are working towards building an exclusive community for developers to help you get connected with like-minded people, build your network and grow professionally. So those who don't know about what Recro is, it is a developer-focused platform helping developers to meet the right opportunities by connecting them with fast-growing startups such as CureFit, Uran, Swiggy, Dunzo, etc. So welcome to Recro Talks again. And today we are having a webinar on front-end interview preparations. Our guest speaker for today is Sadanand Pai, and he has total 9+ years of experience. And with front-end, he has 4+ years of experience. He's also an open source contributor and also a LinkedIn creator. He talks a lot about technologies on his LinkedIn profile, and he actively participates in tech meetups and also gives webinars. So yeah, we would love to hear from him about him more. Thank you so much, Sadanand, for joining us. You can go ahead and say hi to the audience.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So this is Sadanand. So I want to thank, first of all, to Hafsa and whole team at Recro for giving this platform and the opportunity to speak.
Yeah. So before we start, I would like to make some announcements. So post your questions in the Q&A section and we will take up along with the presentation and also at the end of the session. So do not shy away from posting your questions, and I'll definitely have a look and we'll make sure that none of your questions are unanswered. And we will be rolling on poll in between. So keep your notepad handy, and whatever you're learning from this event, do post it on your LinkedIn accounts and tag Recro, tag Sadanand, and then also tag me, and we'll be good to go. Yeah, over to you, Sadanand. I think we can get started.
Sure, Hafsa. Hi, everyone again. So let me start by sharing my screen. I need to get the access to share the screen.
Yeah, can you have a look at it again?
Yeah, now it's done. Is it visible?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So today's topic is about front-end interview preparation. So let's start with the small introduction of mine. I have total 9+ years of experience, in that around 4+ in front-end development. Currently, I'm working on Angular and React frameworks, and my current company is CoinDCIs. I have been working there for about now 1.6 years. Previously, I had worked at Trelleborg as a front-end developer, and this is my second company in front-end. Today we'll be focusing on a few of the important topics in the front-end interview preparation. So how you should be preparing for your interviews, what should be your mindset, the checklist steps, and the roles and expectations, like what kind of expectation does the company have from you, and also what kind of roles are present, and how you should move on. We will cover both for beginners and also for experienced. And the interview rounds, and then the personal project, how to build them, what to build, and how to showcase them in the interviews, or how to get the full benefit from it. So we'll be going through the initial few slides where I'll be discussing more on the kinds of checklists and the roles and expectations. And then if you have any questions, we can discuss about them, and then we will move on to interview rounds. And at the end, we will talk about personal projects. Also, along this, I'll be showing you all the kind of things I have done from my experience so far. And if you feel something you can utilize, feel free to use that or implement it. And most of the things are by from practical experience and not theoretical experience, where I had been giving interviews, taking the interviews, and building the project and lot of stuffs. The first thing before discussing about the starting with the interview process or anything like that, first I wanted to show some checklist which is very mandatory or important if you are looking for a switch to a product company or a good company which you are planning for. Let's discuss about this checklist and why these are important for you. So whenever you are trying to switch a company, so there are things which you look for. For example, a kind of company or the kind of tech stacks that company is working on, and there are many other things. We'll cover one by one. The first thing is type of company. So why is it important for you to think about type of companies? That there are different kinds of companies, the startups, the service based, and the product, etc. Now, whenever you are trying to switch, so just decide whether you want to make a good switch or you just want to switch. That makes a lot of difference. Most of the times, what happens, we are not happy with the kind of culture or the environment in the current company, and we just want to make a switch. That is a good move. But the problem is, again, you will fall into the one more trap where you will spend again 6 months and you think about moving out of that company. So this should not happen, and this has happened with many of the folks. That's why it is very important for you to list down the company type or be even the company names if you want to be in specific, if you have kind of referrals or anything. So this makes a difference that you will start thinking in the way that you need to prepare for those companies. Otherwise, you can just do a random learning and go to the interviews, fail in the interviews, learn from that and apply. But everywhere it may not happen. Let's say you want to move to the right company and there you get rejected. So again, applying for that same company might take 6 months to 1 year, and that you don't want to fall into that zone. So that is why some analysis about the companies and making a list of the things which you are planning to do is very important. This is at the initial point where you have decided you want to move on or you want to join a different company. Then comes the time duration where you need to see like what is the time you have. For example, let's say you are a beginner kind of person, you don't have much of knowledge of JavaScript or React, and you just want to switch within 3 months. Now, the chances are that you may not get the company which you thought of. So, in this case, what you should decide is you need to create a roadmap or decide the timelines about how you will study, what you will study, how much should you study. That is very important. Without a roadmap, it may happen that you study something only JavaScript for about 3 months or React for 3 months, and then when you are going for interviews, they might expect you to have good knowledge on Angular or maybe JavaScript alone. So whatever you are studying will not match with the company standards or the interview standards, and you may get rejected. So do these exercises or the kind of prerequisite things before you plan to switch. A simple example would be that in my case, I was looking only for product or startup companies where they are trying to build their own kind of product, or they want to work on things, excellent things where you get to learn a lot of things. I had a lot of time in the sense I was okay if I didn't get selected in one company, but I was ready to wait for longer duration, maybe 3 to 6 months while switching, so that I'll get into the right company and I don't have to think about switching again immediately. So that was a kind of scenario which I had. Accordingly, you can plan it. And then the tech stack, obviously, you know that you will be working on one of the tech stack, or you might not get a tech stack at all. Few companies even work on JavaScript alone, HTML, CSS stuffs, no frameworks. So in this case, you need to plan it accordingly. So even in interviews, you might have seen the question that if you are only expected to work in a maintenance project or the legacy project, would you join our company? Now you will be in a confusion that you like the company, you want to join the company, but at the same time you don't want to work on outdated technology. These confusions will happen. And then the popular thing about DSC and development, that whether should I prepare for DSC or should I prepare for only development is enough for the front end roles. This confusion again comes into picture, and when you get rejected because you are not good in DSA, that is also again a disappointment, because you might have prepared very well in the React, JavaScript, Angular, and so many other things. Then use how you can build the personal projects and how you can showcase them. That becomes also very important, so that you can make use of those. For example, in one of the interviews, what happened, I had a few of the personal project hosted on GitHub, and the interviewers spent some time going through my resume and the links which I had shared, and they appreciated the kind of work I had done. And because of this, the interview got converted into a discussion, more of a discussion that happened. So this is the advantage. You can say you may be able to skip an interview itself, interview round, I mean. Because now that whatever interview expects, they are already knowing that you have done so many things. They just want to verify whether it is you only who has done the work. Just a verification kind of thing happens. So this is about interview checklist. Here we'll be discussing briefly on the roles, not much into depth of each role. I have given the links if you want to visit it later. Most of the companies we know, we have a junior role, then we have senior ones, and at the top level we have lead and next architect kind of roles. But these again roles are just for the understanding purpose. You may not see exactly architect being at this position, lead to the below position. It may interchange, or they may have a different way they name the roles. Generally, SD 1 or 2 roles are called junior dev roles nowadays, and SD 2, 3, 4, if there are roles such as such, then those will be senior dev roles. And then we have lead roles or staff roles, especially we have in our company, where those are staff roles are at the higher level, higher than usually the SD roles. And then architect role if there are, and then even the highest roles you can see is that kind of CTO or a technical director. I'm not much aware about that. That's why I didn't write those things in this slide. I'll just glance into the document which I have created. Here I have many covered SD 1, 2, and 3 roles, where I have clearly written what are the expectations from each role and what are the core skills you need to have, and then the engineering skills you need to have for that role. Let's say, let me pick SD2 role, which is not the junior role, not the senior role as well, in between. Here you can see the expectations will be like you need to be good. It is not sufficient that you know something. Let's say CSS. You know CSS, but you can manage, but you are not good at that. These kind of things may not work for a mid-senior or SD2 roles. But being said that, this is not something which is standards. As I have told you that you cannot survive with SD2 role with the pixel perfect, without pixel perfect design. So that doesn't mean if you are not aware about that, you are not eligible for SD2. It doesn't mean that, but it is good to have. That's why I again want to stress here, these are kind of opinions or the informations which I have got, but not something which sets the standards. You can go through all of this whenever you get the free time. Will not spend much time here on the role. Moving on about the expectations, what people have or what the companies will have from from you. Here I have written few of the important things. These are mixed actually. We cannot differentiate that this is functional, this is engineering. But still, I have tried to categorize to some extent, and they may again get interchanged. Let's talk about few of the things which are mentioned here. If you are a good engineer, let's not talk about SD 1, 2, 3 or staff role. If you are a good engineer, you are expected to understand the requirement and make the analysis of that and come up with the points. And after that, you may be asked to build a project on your own. Nobody is there and you are a single front-end developer, or maybe in a project you are the only person, though people are there in the company. You may end up in the scenario where nobody will help you and you have to manage that. Managing the tech scoping and tech stack. You have to decide which framework to go, why should you go for that. Nobody will may question you or somebody may question you, but still you are the owner. End to end you have to manage. Such things are expected nowadays, especially in the startups. Then the task estimations, you have to tell the people or the higher management that how much time does this task take or this feature take. And accordingly, they will inform that to the senior members. And according to that, the things will be published and things will be promoted, be it ad or anything. Accordingly, you are responsible here. And then the pixel perfect development, obviously, if you are a senior person, you must be knowing how to do this. The responsive web design, the scalable and maintainable code. So here at the right side, I have written more of an engineering stuff where people may not come to you and ask you whether you have done this, but you are expected to do these things. A scalable and maintainable stuffs and the best practices across the industry. You are expected to talk to many other folks and get the standards known, and the unit testing with good coverage. Many people write unit testing just for the sake of unit testing, and even I had done in my initial front-end development journey. But as a senior role, or even if you are a junior, it is recommended that you start this practice so that going forward it becomes easy for you. And then whenever you are building an application, you should focus into all of the things such as accessibility, performance, security, and so many things are there. So everything you should take care. And yeah, as I have told, these are the kind of expectations what you should showcase in your interview to be a good fit. Whether you get selected or not, that is the second question. But whether have you done all of these things in all of your project, that is important. May not be that you start a project today from scratch and you get to do everything because of multiple factors. But whether are you willing to do these things, that makes a difference. Then even Git branching I have included as a point which talks about the strategies and so many other things if we want to cover as a functional and engineering points. So these are these are the expectations which people will have from you or even the companies. And you may say that these are the things are not fit for junior dev or only the senior devs are supposed to know. That is not the thing. If you want to grow, you have to manage all these things, and not only this, but plus many more things. If you are not doing, you can start from today. Start from a small thing, but eventually you will become better at most of the things.
Sadanand, we do have a lot of questions in our Q&A tab. So I think we can answer one by one. And I think I could read it out for you if you want. So the first question is how to answer syntax questions for which you don't remember.
Yeah. About the syntax, not in many companies nowadays, people focus on syntax because that is something which you can get online. There is nothing not a big thing. And also they ask you to either Google it or ask the interviewer itself. So you should have the main thing why do they ask this is that you should have a muscle memory. Let's say I am a JavaScript developer and daily I am working on JavaScript. And it cannot happen that I am not aware what is array.map. And immediately I should be able to use a map filter or some known functions on array. But if you are not knowing that, they might think that there is some problem. If it is an advanced syntax, I would suggest ask the interviewer, can I Google? Or can you help me with this? This is what I want to achieve. Let's say you want to remove few of the items from the array. You can tell that there is a function filter which does the job, but I am not exactly remembering how to use it for the interview. Can you help? So in this case, definitely they will help if you are clear about the concept.
And he also asked, do you need to memorize anything? So is there any purpose of memorizing? I think it's the follow-up question for the above.
Yeah. So there is no need for memorizing everything, but commonly asked things you should memorize. Not only commonly asked, but commonly used day to day, whatever you are using. You should be at least confident on those things. And rest all, you should know the concepts. No need to memorize the advanced steps.
Yeah. And can speak something about DSA and its scope in interview?
Yeah, to be straightforward, I don't, I won't say that don't study DSA or study DSA, but even today, 50% of the front-end interviews will involve DSA. That too, bit of an advanced data structures and algorithms in some cases. That is how they will be able to differentiate from you from other people. Let's say both are doing equal, very good job in the interview, but somebody else is better in DSA, which you are not. Now, definitely their weightage will be more. That's why if you come across that situation, you study DSA. If you feel it is not required at all, then just leave it.
Yeah. And I'm looking for key points for web security.
I don't have, yeah, a lot of materials around web security. Few of the things which are present is one on MDN and also on front-end masters I have seen. Those are good, and I have them in the front-end learning kit. I'll share the link at the end.
Yeah. And the next question is, can you help us with a framework for system design?
As of now, I don't have a kind of framework for system design developed. I need to work on that. As of now, no answer for this.
Yeah. Link for this Google Sheet, please. Okay, I think Sadanand can share the presentation with us, is going to share the presentation with us, and we will share the same presentation in our Discord community. So we have a Discord community called Rebase, and that's a professionally exclusive community for working devs only. And we do actually share the recording links of the webinars and also the presentation links of what speakers send it with us. So you can join the community. I think I added the link in the chat. So once Anand shares the link of the presentation, I'll accordingly share it in the Discord community. So be a part of the community, and I think you can have the access to everything over there. And what do you mean exactly, Pixel Perfect Dev? How to enhance it?
Okay, if you have not heard about Pixel Perfect Development, it is the development where you code exactly the output, whatever you do, should exactly match with the design. Let's say there is a gap between two elements, which is 5 pixels. So exactly you need to maintain 5 pixels between them. Don't just think about the gap, it is for the whole page. However, they have given exactly you need to reproduce that content with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, plus frameworks, whatever technology you are using. So if you are able to do that, that is pixel perfect development.
Okay, and how to answer if asked about how to increase performance of the project?
That depends on the kind of project what you are working, Swapnil. If you are working on Angular project, you might have to go through the things which are recommended for Angular, let's say the breaking of ng modules, then using the better forms if needed, and reduce the rendering, change of state with those things. And if it comes to React, it could be totally different. So it depends on the project. And if you have not done anything on performance, you may not be able to answer this directly for your specific project.
Yeah, I think those were the questions as of now, and I think we can go forward with the presentation. And for people who are having more questions, guys, please follow the same process of posting your questions in the Q&A tab, and also people joining from LinkedIn. If you have any questions, do let us know in the comment section. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Afsa. So let me continue with the presentation, guys.
Yep.
The next section of the presentation or the discussion is about interview rounds. Here, I'll be discussing about different types of interview rounds. And let's not get confused that all these different rounds will be there for an interview. That will not be the case. These are the kind of highest number of interview rounds that you may have in any company, or something additional which they might have invented now. Well, otherwise, these are the standard interview rounds which you may expect in a company. Let's talk the interview rounds one by one. The first round will be telephonic or exploratory discussion. What it means is that whenever before taking the interviews, they don't want to call all the candidates and take the interview. If you are not aware, interview process is a bit hectic and also requires a lot of manpower and effort. They don't want to spend so much or invest so much on the interviews and don't get anything in return. That is why they keep a discussion kind of round initially, or the telephonic round. Sometimes it can be assessment also. And depending on this, they will decide whether you are a fit for the next rounds or not. And kind of questions what you can expect in telephonic round is that, let's say, one JavaScript, CSS, and HTML, and few questions on framework. Let me give examples of what was asked to me in one of the company in telephonic round. They asked me about what is the use of Bootstrap and which is the latest version. What new things had come on in Bootstrap in the latest version. This was one question on CSS. And then they asked about this keyword in JavaScript, how does it work, and how does it work within arrow function. And then about HTML, they asked me, how do you use meta tag in HTML? And what about doc type? Why should we write that? If we don't write, what happens? These three questions they asked for me from HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the fundamentals. And two questions they asked me, one on React and Angular, because I had mentioned that I have worked on both the frameworks. So that's why they asked me one from React and Angular. Now they understood whether this person knows to the extent. Let's say you may not answer all the 5 questions right, but even if you answer 4 of the questions, that means you are a good fit. Even 3 they may consider. But if all the other people are answering 5 out of 5, then there is a risk of not getting selected. But otherwise, generally answering 3 to 4 questions should be sufficient out of 5 questions. So this is about telephonic round, and exploratory discussion is also kind of similar. In some companies they have now. What they do is they discuss in general. It won't be an interview kind of thing, but they will ask you that what did you do in the current project? What are the challenges? What kind of framework? Everything they discuss, and they see whether you are fit or not. We'll take all the questions at the end of the interview rounds before going to the next section. About the machine coding round, this is not that this should be the second round, that is the first round. It can be in any order and in any format. Machine coding round or assessment I have mentioned. If you are facing the assessment round where a quiz can be asked or multiple choices or anything, in that case, a machine coding round usually won't be there. But there could be scenario that both will be covered for you. In the machine coding round, the expectation is that you need to spend around 1 hour or 2 hours in front of the interviewers. But due to work from home or remote culture, you need not you need to be online, but the interviewer may not be available for that time. You will have to code something. They will ask you to build a feature which is small, not that small as well, but it is from the larger scope. Let's say you are giving an interview for company X which works on e-commerce, and you might be asked to design a cart functionality. That's how it will be. And in machine coding round, you will be provided mock data if needed, and you need not worry about the real time scenarios where everything should be like how real website works. What they need is a mock UI with the mock data in most of the cases. If not, they will specify what they are expecting. And here the focus will be much on the approach and the quality of code, not only on the result. If you are getting the result as well, that is great. But the way you have taken the approach, and in some cases, maybe if 2 hours is given and you completed in 1.5 hours, you can write the unit test cases also. I'll go through few of the questions which I have created so far. Here you can see all the questions. The link is again there in the slide. Let's talk about the simplest one, the counter, where you will be asked to create a simple counter with the plus and minus, and you can increase or decrease the values accordingly if I change the increment and decrement. And let's talk about a complex one or the time consuming one. Let's go to comment box. Here, if you see, I have a comment, and then if somebody comes and comments something, that will be added. And if somebody comments on top of that, then again that will be added. And if somebody comments again on the main comment, then this kind of hierarchy will form. So this is not the straightforward question. Like if you have not practiced before, it might look bit difficult instead. And other question can be that OTP input on paste also it should work. On backspace it should clear. On left right arrows the thing should work. So these kind of questions you can expect. So there is no specific format. It depends on the domain. If I am working on research projects, it could be that related to research. And if I'm working on my company's gaming company, then I'll ask you, how do you write a tic-tac-toe game or something similar. So there are no boundaries defined, but these are few things which I have collected so far. You can practice all of them, and then you can create your own questions. And those are all in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but sometimes you will be asked for frameworks as well, and then it is good and easy for you. The next thing will be problem solving. Here, the main intention will be that how do you solve a problem? That is very important. That it is very important that what kind of approach you are taking, and you should be talking about the approach. That is very important. And in top companies, usually it will be output based. Like if you are able to get the right approach but not able to get the output, that also matters. But in some companies, they won't focus much on that. They will help you, assist you to get the output. If like let's say 90% of the things are correct, it's fine. If you are not able to find the syntax or some challenge with the debugging, that's fine. But mainly You need to explain everything to them. Even while debugging, you have to tell what are you doing, why are you doing like that, what do you think about that. Yeah, so here I have few of the questions noted. If you see, I have added newbie section, then warm-up section, problems on 1D array, 2D array, strings, and linked list, and so many other things. Not all of them I have solved so far, but if you click on that, if it does not take you to the lead code, that means these are the solutions which I have given, and you can take help of this. I recommend, if you are not aware about much about DSA, try to solve all of these questions. Around 80 to 90 questions, 80 questions I guess are there. If you are doing all these things, you should be able to get a wide range of knowledge in DSA. I won't say this will be sufficient for any interview, but for most of the interview, this will be helping you. We'll move on to the next part where take-home assignments will be given. How this is different from a normal machine coding round is that they will give you enough time. Not in hours, but sometimes a day or a week also. The focus is highest on end-to-end development. What they expect is you take each and every decision. Take the decision of a bundler, maybe if you want to use parcel, webpack, or do you want to just go with the React inbuilt approach, or do you want to go with some other framework which works best for the given requirement? And how do you decide about the CSS, whether you want to go CSS in JS, or you want to go for CSS modules, SCSS, styled components, or whatever. Everything you have to decide. They will tell you in the requirement whether you can use a framework or not, or maybe a library or not. But they won't tell you everything. You have to decide everything. Starting from the scratch till the delivery. Where do you deploy it? How do you give it to the give the final code? Whether you just zip it and give it, or do you keep it in GitHub and host it in some web server? How do you do this? So everything is dependent on you, and you will be given sufficient time for this. Generally, 2 days to 5 days are something which was given for me, but minimum I feel is 1 day that they give. So as I told you, you want to do, you have to do think in real term. This is one of the example which I'm showing. This was asked in one company. I don't want to reveal the company name. What they had asked was to create a GitHub open issues page where I can click on the issues and see what is this issue. And this is working in real time. I took it from CRA, where all the issues, open issues from CRA, I am fetching it in real time. And on click of that, I am showcasing a few of the things. This is what they had expected. And here also, if you go to real GitHub issues, you may see the fancy thing. But here I have not added lot of fancy stuff. But whatever is required, I had added. And if you see, I click on 2, the loader is happening. And if it fails, how do you handle it? Everything matters. And now I click on 1, there is no loading because 1 was already loaded. But if I click on 187, it is loading. Now I go back to 2, immediately it loaded. Similarly, 187. So these are a few things which you have to decide yourself. Nobody will tell you that what you should be doing apart from the requirements.
Yeah, I think Sazalan, we do have questions over here, and I think you want us to take up the questions?
Yes, yes.
Yep. So the last question that we read was from Swapnil, and then I think, okay, the question is, I took some gap after leaving a job to learn more about Frontend. How to justify this to the recruiter?
Yeah, so if you have a genuine reason, then just go about it, tell them what it is, and it won't matter a lot if you are having the skills required for the job. It had happened with me also once that I was fired from my second company after working for 1 month. And wherever I went, they were asking, why were you fired or laid off? They asked me about whether your performance was not good, or so many things. I was ready to tell whatever it was, and I got the job within a month. Fortunate for me, but may not happen in every case, may take longer. But otherwise, you can give many other reasons, such as if you are having health issues, you can be straightforward about that as well. And if you had not worked very well, you can tell that you need not tell that the performance issue, because it happens when you join a challenging company, you may not be able to deliver to the extent what they are expecting. It is okay to go slow in the slower phase.
Yeah. So the next question is Angular performance improvement. Could you list and help on some more details?
Yeah, the main thing what I have come across in projects which I have built is that the first thing is the modules. If you are having a single module, try to break it into multiple modules. That is the first thing. And after you divide the modules, do the lazy loading. Many people or many projects I have seen, there is no lazy loading. Because of this, everything will be loaded once. So that is the second thing. And there is third thing called as preloading. There are strategies defined in Angular where you can preload. Preload is nothing but you are on page one, and the clicking on a link will take you to the second page. Now, after click, you are lazy loading. That will open the second screen. Instead, you know that user may click on second link, and you need to preload those. So this strategy is defined by Angular. If you are not aware about that, you can read about that. Then if you are using a lot of forms which are template driven or not optimized, think about optimizing that, and also start utilizing RxJS more. If you are using your projects with the clean RxJS, and then it will help you to write the improve the strategy. Also, there is something called as on push strategy for the Angular component, where it will behave like whenever there is a change, then only your component will re-render. Otherwise, it will not. And if you are using the loops, there is some indexing strategy also that you can follow. So these are I can say top 5 things, and there are many more things written by experts. You can refer the books.
Yeah. So the next question is any tips for freshers in this recession?
Yeah, so with recession, what happens? Many people get laid off, and then many opportunities open immediately after that. You might have seen the same scenario in COVID. So here we are hoping for the best, that everything will become better. With that thing in mind, be ready. If you are not getting the job, invest your time in preparing for the stuffs. Even if possible, do the advanced stuff, do the projects, and when there is a requirement, be ready. If you are studying at later stage, that may not help.
Yep. If you don't work with Bootstrap, is it a problem if you don't know about the latest version? Does it mean you are not good engineer? Okay.
No, there is nothing like that. Why was it asked to me is that I had written Bootstrap in my resume. That is why they had asked. But if you are not aware about that, it is absolutely fine. But you should be at least aware about CSS one.
Yeah. And next question is I'm working at Infosys since 1 year on Spring Boot based support role. Now I want to switch to a product based company for React based role. So, what are the things I should prepare before looking for any opportunity?
Yeah, Hemant. So I have written a blog on this. I had worked in testing domain for 6 years, and after 6 years, I started my front end career. That's why my even the total years of experience is like 9. I have 4+ in front end. If I can do it after 6 years, obviously you should be able to do it after 1 year. I have the blog. You can read about that, and if you still have the questions, you can connect with me.
Yeah. Can we use Google during machine coding?
Yeah, during machine coding, you can browse anything, but just don't copy paste the code from somewhere else. Otherwise, everything is fine.
Okay. And since DSA is vast, what data structure are focused more on interviews of product based companies?
Yeah, so in DSA for front end is the main thing is whether you are able to solve the problems or not, especially which arises in day-to-day front end work. The main thing which I would say ask you to focus is that arrays, linked list, trees, and a few other data structures which are related to this. For example, stack, which works on either array or a linked list, and then queues. So that you will get an understanding. And as I said, if you are covering all the questions which I had shown in the DSA sheet, that will give you enough knowledge on most important things for the interviews at least.
Sorry, I was on mute. The last question is, please share resources to learn how to write test cases as a beginner.
Yeah, there are books available for writing the better test cases, and getting better at test cases or writing the unit testing is not possible within a month or 2 months. It should be a practice. Start with the zero, just write the basic test case for adding two numbers, maybe some. You will understand what is behind the scenes. And then there are many courses even on Udemy which you can refer. Try to learn unit testing first and then move on to the integration testing or end-to-end testing.
Yeah. We do have one question from LinkedIn, Sadanand, and that is where do we get the interview preparation concept from Frontend? So I believe he's asking for the resources.
Yeah, resources, I have the link in the PPT itself. I'll be sharing at the end.
Yeah. I think you're also a part of community that we haven't discussed, Anand. I think you can share all the resources over there so people can have the access to the resources that he's using in the presentation today and also the resources that you guys are mentioning. So that would be a great deal for, for everyone to have the access from.
Yeah, sure, Sir. Okay, moving on, guys. After take-home assignment, we'll discuss in brief about system design. I'm not spending much time here because last week only in Recro it was discussed about the system design round. Here in the system design round, mainly the focus will be HLD, LLD kind of stuffs where you have to tell the interviewer that what you are building, how you are taking the approach at high level and low level. There won't be coding, and if there is coding, some coding might be there, but usually they won't ask you to write some code. But here, like your breadth of knowledge will be tested. It is not that how do you implement some feature in depth, they may not ask, but how do you implement the whole website, probably if you are building an e-commerce website or building the course website like Udemy. What are the things you take care? Like how should you be starting with the project, the tech stack, and all the other things, but they won't ask you to build it live. And here the main key thing will be how much exposure you have and what kind of exploration you have done so far. In your experience, you might have come across different challenges, but you are solving it in a single way. You are not thinking about different alternate ways or optimizing it, and you are doing for the sake of doing. In these cases, it may not help you, but otherwise you can talk to the interviewer about different approaches. Even sometimes interviewers won't be knowing all the things, and it will be a healthy discussion if you are doing so. Yeah, moving on, we'll discuss about personal project, how to showcase them, and what to build also. If there are any questions, we can take up. Otherwise, I will move on to the last section.
We do have one question, and it says, I have 2 years of front-end experience. Do you think this front-end is overwhelming? If not, how do you manage such vast tech topics?
Yeah, front end is vast. Even the back end is vast. If you go to any field, It is like a huge thing, and especially the front end is growing exponentially, and every week I'm seeing some framework coming in front end. We cannot learn anything, forget about mastering. Even we cannot master a single thing, let's say JavaScript. Even mastering JavaScript spending like 2 3 years is also not possible. So we should not focus on mastering the front end. Do the things with the quality. That is what I would suggest.
I think we actually covered all the questions. I think we can proceed with the presentation.
Yeah. Sure. The last section, guys, will be on personal project. Here, this will be more of how to build your projects and what are the use. Personal project. Let's say one personal project of mine, which I want to show before moving on. This is the GitHub platform, and this is the repository which we create on GitHub. Why GitHub? Because it's popular and many people use it. And if you see, this project is quite popular with the 3.4K stars and 500 plus folks. And many people daily visit this GitHub repository. The use is that when people ask you what you have done apart from your work, you can't show everything what you have done in your work to outside world. You cannot take the code base of your company and show other company that this is what I have done. That will be wrong. So you can't do that. That's why you need to keep building the repositories or the projects so that you can showcase your knowledge. You need not do everything at once. You can do it slowly. If you see, this project is 1.5 years old, and here I have added many things. Let's talk about the repository the points one by one. The first thing is README. Whenever you are creating the repository, have the README file. That is must. If you are not doing that, people will not understand what they are supposed to do. You are giving to any HR your GitHub repo, and you tell, I have done this project. Now when they open it, if there is no README, there is no hosting link, do you expect them to install the Node.js and other stuffs and run it? So that will never happen. So if you have to showcase it properly, whatever you build. So that's why README will tell you what are the things you are building in that project and what they should look for. The other thing is about the hosting. Whatever the project you do, if possible, host them all so that whenever somebody wants to see your project, they will be immediately able to click on the link and see. Again, you need not share the link separately. Share the GitHub repo, and everything is possible within the GitHub repository. You can either host in GitHub pages if they are static. Otherwise, you can go for free hosting services such as Netlify, Versal. There are many other platforms which at least will give you the basic plan so that you somebody can view your website. The next thing would be adding a license. Have a license which will help you with the maintaining the community standards, and along with the license, many other things are there which I'll show you that you should add so that your repository becomes standard. And this will eventually help you to improve your commit chart. That also I'll show you soon. And try to build something which adds value to you or other people. How does it add value to you? Because when you are building something, you are learning something. Or let's say you have already learned it in your company project, you want to showcase it. You bring the same concept from that to here. Don't copy paste the code, but apply the same concept so that if somebody asks or somebody wants to check your profile, it will be there. You won't know who will who will be watching your profile or who wants to look into your code. So you can be prepared all the time. Let me show you how does the GitHub page look like. This will be your GitHub portfolio page. If you are creating a repository with the same name as your username, then whatever README page you update there will be reflecting in your GitHub profile page. So that is the facility feature which came 2 years back, I guess. Here you can mention about yourself and what are you good at. That is very important so that somebody comes for you to hire, then they will know why should they hire you or to what will. Write about yourself a bit and then share the links if you have any. And then the other stuff such as blogs and if you have given sessions, everything you can have here as well and in your portfolio page as well. GitHub is also kind of portfolio page, but this is not that much customizable, but still it is good. And here you can mention about the languages you have used and other stuffs. And here a pinned repository will show what kind of projects have you worked on. And why are you, the main reason why you are pinning is that these are the projects which you want everybody to look into. That is the reason you will pin it here. And somebody sees your GitHub profile, they should feel good. Even don't think about that you should have stars, you should have folks, or people should like your repository. It need not be that. Even if it is a simple game, then be it, upload it, keep it, have the README and make it accessible for everyone. And this is the commit chart. This helps people to see and understand that how actively are you contributing to the open source or to your own projects. Make it a habit. That is very important. It is not that you need to show green in all the boxes. Whenever you commit, this green color comes, and if you see that green means a lot of activity. It is not needed that every day you do, but do it regularly according to your convenience. So this is about the GitHub, and here if you see, I have a license created where it says this repository is MIT licensed, and it will have some details such as a license will tell you how do you use that repo, can you use it freely, can you distribute or not, those things. And then here, if you see, there will be community standards. Try to add all the community standards such as description, README, code of conduct, contribution guidelines, license, and there are few more which can be added depending on the kind of repository you are creating. This is about GitHub, and the last thing which I want to tell you is that create something which adds the value so that people will appreciate the work along with the knowledge what you are putting, because you are putting a lot of effort, and if you are doing something which will help people, then people will come to your repository or download it and use it. So that is how you will create the value to the community. If you are not aware or confused what to build, here few things which I would recommend. Start with the to-do app, which will help you to understand all the CRUD operations, and then practice projects you can create. If you are doing something in the company in Angular, just try to convert the same thing in React yourself. Don't use the data of the company, but use the concepts. Then the games you can build, be it simple tic-tac-toe or the complex game, you can build those as well. And then people are cloning the project, cloning of popular websites like Netflix and many other. That also you can do at least one project. And then you must build a portfolio of your own so that you can showcase everything. Portfolio is nothing but you will have all the details of your skills, then the company experience, the talks you have given, the contributions you have done, everything. And the last thing which I would like to say is about the materials which you can refer to. This is the front-end learning kit which I have created. And here I have added all the resources possible. And if you are knowing some other resources, do add it here. You just have to raise a PR, and I will approve it if it is having the good quality. And everything you can find it here. Most of the things which are related to front end, not related to back end. This is purely front end, not full stack also. Everything, for example, DSA resource, coding challenges platform, all the platforms, then the interview preparation steps which you need to go through, then the YouTube channels, recommended ones, the all the other topics in the front end. As much as possible, I have covered. You can still refer to this. And if you are planning to study all of this, this will not complete in our lifetime. So many resources are there, but the focus again is concentrating on the fundamentals. The other one is about the roadmap, which is present in the same repository. This explains about all the checklists which I created during 2022. What and all things you should be aware about, and all the checklists and items you should be or may be aware for your interview preparation. Even I have the roadmap what to study, how to study, and I will be planning to write a blog as well, which explains everything for a beginner, starting from a beginner, how to move till a senior role probably. So that's it from my side for this discussion. I'm open to any questions.
Yep, Sadanand. We do have a question. Okay. So for fresher interview, asked more questions from JavaScript or framework. Okay, so the question is, if a fresher is giving interview, so are the questions from JavaScript are asked more or any other frameworks?
For freshers and SD1 roles, generally the focus will be more towards the fundamentals. The reason being, if you are a fresher, you haven't worked on any framework, let's assume. You can be made to work on any framework. Let's say you have good fundamentals in JavaScript. If we put you for a training of 1 month, you can work on Angular. Then for 1 month, you can work on React as well. But if you are a senior person, then this becomes challenging because they don't want to hire you for a role, senior role, where you don't know anything about a framework. The focus will be more on fundamentals for beginners, and at the later stages, you need to have the expertise on at least one framework. But even for beginner nowadays, they expect you to know at least one framework. And in India, it is specifically React. If you are not knowing React, then spend at least 1 week, study React before going to the interviews.
Yeah, so the next question is, does full stack engineering really exist? I notice in major companies, they only have specialist roles like front end, back end, DevOps, etc.
Yeah, in most of the product and startups, not the early stage startups, they have specific roles for front end, back end, and other technologies. But if you see the early stage startups where the employees are like between 10 to 50 or 100, they expect you to do everything. Sometimes I have seen one of my friend who had joined from other company to my company, last company, not this company. He was going to the client's place also and asking, getting the requirements. So you can see to what level of full stack, beyond full stack he was doing. So this happens in the early stage startups, and in the service based also there are full stack roles. So if you are only front end, then you should be bit worried. Bit worried in the sense there are enough roles, but if you are having not a good hold on front end, then something either you need to become proficient in front end or move towards the full stack kind of role, where the questions, the knowledge will be expected a little bit from all the areas, be it front end, back end. They will ask you a little bit in back end, little bit in front end, and you are good, you are fit for that role. But if you are not good in anything, that will create the problem.
Yes. Okay, so I think so one question is for me, I guess. Can you access previous discussions or recordings on the Discord of Recro? Are there any Zoom recordings? Yes, we actually have all the recordings of the webinar that was ever conducted on Recro. So we have recordings of all the 70 plus webinars that we have done. So yeah, you can ping me up in the Discord and let me know which recording that you want, and I can provide you the same. And also, this session is also getting recorded, so we'll be posting it in 2-3 days on our YouTube channel. But till then, you can go and have a look on the LinkedIn Live or YouTube Live that we are having with this webinar right now. And meanwhile, if you missed on some points and missed on some key discussions or want to go through something again, you can have a look at the live that we're going. So one question more, Sadhana, and which one is good, going in depth in the front end or becoming a full stack developer?
It's difficult to answer because it depends on one's taste and opinion. For me, I was interested specifically in front end because whatever I build, I can see it. If you see so many challenges which I have created, I can enjoy while creating. If I am a backend developer, it's a bit hard. If you see Python or any other languages, you need a separate library to render the stuffs and build things. But in front end, if you know HTML, CSS, JS, you can build almost everything in the UI. So that is the reason I picked front end. But if you are interested, there are a lot of opportunities in front end, and if you see only there are very less people who are extremely knowledgeable in front end. If you see, a lot of people are there who are good in front end. But if you see who is really good in front end, you will hardly find people. So that is how the front end industry is. The reason being that earlier JavaScript was underrated till 2015, and then with the Angular and React, it became popular, and everybody started switching. And even earlier thin client was there, but now if you see, everything is moving to the front end.
So we have one more question. What do you really mean by good in front end?
Yeah, that is again a difficult thing to answer because there is nothing like there are no set of questions that can define who is good, who is bad. All depends on the experience, and you have 3 years of experience and you are struggling with the basic steps in the fundamentals. Then one would say that you are lagging. But with the 5 years of experience, let's say the person is able to work with both backend and frontend. You need not work completely in the backend, in the sense you need not code the backend, but you should be having the understanding how the things work. For example, how the REST API works, how the communication happens, how the HTTP stuffs work, client side, everything. If you are aware and you are able to build the stuffs which are needed, that is the way you get the money and how the companies get the money. You might be knowing so many things, but when it comes to developing the stuffs and you are not able to do that, even with that knowledge, it is not useful. You write the best unit test cases in the world, you know everything in JavaScript, but when something is given, let's say build some application and you are not able to get the things done, then that is a very bad thing.
Yeah. And Swapnil is asking, can you share the resources link? I think all the resources that Sadanand has mentioned, he'll be sharing it in the community. So the link of the community that I've dropped is in the chat. So you can join the community and you will get all the resources links and also the presentation link. So Sadanand, once you're done with the webinar, please make sure that the presentation link and all the resources link that you mentioned is posted in the community so people can have a look at it, or you can share it with me. I'll share it in the community.
Sure.
So that's it. Yeah. And there's one more question which says, should front-end developers have any designing skills?
You need not have any design skills, but you should be in a position to question the design. For example, let's say you have a designer has implemented some flow and you see the challenge in the usability. Then you should be in a position to ask these questions. Why this matters is that let's say now you have got the design and you ask for 1 week of time to develop it, and you did not find the problem in the initial stages, and after developing for 3 4 days you found that this is not possible to be developed because of some reasons, or it may take 1 more week. Now after 3 to 4 days, if you are going back to the designer and saying that this is not possible, can you please change, now even the designer would require the time. So for in these cases you need to have that at least the basic skills to understand how the design is thought about and how is it helpful for the user, because designers always think in a way that how this product can be made useful, accessible and usable for everybody, even for a dumb person or even for senior citizens. Your application should be accessible. Now if you are building, if they are building in that way, you should have some sense that what are you building on, and with that you will get a sense of understanding that why they are building like this, or why you are building this stuff in this way. So with this you will get this sense automatically with your experience. That's what has happened with me earlier. I was blindly building the stuff, so they give the design, I just get the things done without thinking that how this is being done, like how this is useful. But later, slowly, you will get the understanding. But basic, I would recommend. You need not know Figma or any tool.
Yep, I think that was the last question. So, guys, we are going to wrap up the session soon. And if you're having any questions, we're going to take up the last minute questions. So, please not miss out on your questions if you have any questions to ask. I think that's pretty much. Okay, I think we can end this session now. Hope no one has any more questions to ask. Okay, that was the last question of the session, and that brings us to the end of this wonderful session, guys. I would like to thank each one of you for joining us and joining us on Saturdays and joining us on weekend shows. Your zeal and determination to learn something new, and I hope we stood on your expectations of providing you something valuable, something new to learn, and few takeaways that you could have from this session. So we would look forward for your post on LinkedIn along with your key learnings, and please do join the community that I've mentioned in the chat section of Zoom and also the comment section of LinkedIn. And we're going to provide you with the presentation slides and all the resources that Sadanand has been talking about and he's been sharing in this session today. So do not forget to tag Sadanand, tag Recro, and tag me in your post, and we'd be more than happy to look at your learnings and key takeaways. So before we end this session, I have a few announcements to make. And first of all, thank you so much, Sadanand, for joining us. Thank you for taking time from your schedule and preparing such amazing presentation with all the examples. And we are very elated to have you in the webinar today.
Thanks, Afsar. Thanks, Recro.
Yeah. And before we end the session, guys, just a few announcements to make. We have created a community for developers called Rebase on Discord. Join the close community for JavaScript developers to unleash your true potential. And if you're someone with 2+ years of experience, you can get a chance to connect with your experts, have resume reviews, interview tips, coding practices, and much more to learn in the community. And you can also connect with experts like Sadanand and also have the access to all our webinars and recordings in the community. We have made a LinkedIn post about this session. Do comment your learnings of the post, and the link of the post is in the chat of the Zoom. Please go ahead and share your learnings and share some love on the post. And if you have more questions, you can follow and connect with Sadanand. I have shared his LinkedIn profile in the Zoom chat. And on LinkedIn, for guys who are watching this on LinkedIn, you can type and search for Sadanand Pai, and he'll be over there. You can connect with him and follow up with him, and he'll be more than happy to help you guys with your learnings and questions and challenges that you face. If you're exploring career opportunities, Recro is hiring passionate developers. Do check out the openings at Recro. And if any of your friends or colleagues or anyone who's looking out for change, do make them look into the Recro's page, and we'll make sure that we'll place them in the great startups of the country. And to stay updated with such events, follow us on social media, follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn, and also Instagram. And this session recording is live on our YouTube and also live on our LinkedIn page of Recro. Do have a look at it and let me know if you need anything else. And once you're in the community, I can share you the recording link once we edit the whole recording. Yep. And that's all for the session, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had amazing time and learning experience from this session. And I hope to see you all in the next session soon. Take care, stay safe. Thank you so much and have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Sadanand. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you all.